This is Trophy the Scoundrel's Quarter, Part 4. I'll just say, as a matter of housekeeping, that Rob will be stepping away for a little bit in a bit. So if you're watching the video, we know Rob's going to be gone for a little while. We'll do our best to get Bana to work around Bana during that time. Let's do a little bit of recapping. So taking a look at the character keeper, well, let's start with the incursion first. So kind of what was going on is all the characters were exploring the Temple of the Peerless Star. And you had split up into three groups, initially two groups, and then eventually three groups. And you explored different aspects of the Temple of the Peerless Star. Cassian took a plane hopping journey with the magic astrolabe. Bana and Malkuth were doing a gritty dungeon crawl down in the basement and catacombs, and Magda was doing crowd control and other hijinks up top, literally in the middle of the other two groups. Ultimately, you've discovered a few important things about the temple up to this point. You know that down in the catacombs, they have a big-ass snake, a silver-scaled snake that is crawling around the walls and that has access to pretty much any part of the catacombs whenever it wants via these little grates in the wall that swing in two directions. The snake has demonstrated a proclivity for doing hit-and-run attacks where it just lashes out, strikes at you, and then goes back into the wall. Also, there are some creatures who we don't have a name for yet, but they are kind of these bizarre ghoul-like creatures that the priests are making, because you discovered this room where we saw some priests floating in this sort of like miniature galaxy, and they were transforming into these ghoul-like beings that they speak a different language. Their motivations are unclear. Down in the subterranean portion of the temple, there are basically three passages you can take, and you've basically seen everything there is to see on one side, which is where the strange transformations are going on. Also, in that same chamber, above it, on the other side of some thick glass, you saw the snake floating around, which is interesting. And a grate that the snake exits that space from. But that right way passage you more or less have explored. There's a middle one that no one's gone up yet. And then on the left leads to the crypts, where there is plenty of treasure to be had, but also plenty of danger. We're at a point where the group is finally converging back into one now. Also, there are priests aware of your presence, and they are down here with you as well. That middle passage, there's something weird going on, but you have not yet explored it. And so that's basically where things stand as far as that goes. You have a couple of active set goals right now. The set goal that's in the basement, which is the level between the main floor of the temple and where you're at now, that basement level has a set goal of discovering the nature of the temple's most valuable treasure. You still have not done that, so that is still available to be done. And the catacombs have a set goal as well. I don't know if I even told you last time, but the set goal is find the entrance to the Starlight Serpent's Den. Should type that for you. Find the entrance to the Starlight Serpent's Den. Spoiler alert, that big snake is the Starlight Serpent, in case it wasn't clear. Also, that snake can absorb light. That's another thing it does. Yeah, so let's taking a look at the characters really quickly, just to do a quick burdens and ruin check. Everyone's kind of doing okay on treasure, actually. Well, maybe not Magdan and Cassian as much, but certainly treasure is being collected. Burdens are very well likely to be met. So I think you're all in probably pretty good shape as far as that goes. Ruin scores aren't even too bad, to be honest. Everyone's at their starting ruin score, except for Malkuth, has gone up by 1. And Magda's a little low on armor, but still has some. And yeah, otherwise, so you're all still in pretty good shape. So the time to be daring is now. Do any of you have any questions about anything?
Just clarification on the set goals. So with the basement one, it has to be found in the basement, right? It's not like one of those
Yes.
things where it's like,
Yeah, the answer will be found in the basement, right? You can always spend the 3 tokens if you go in the basement. You can spend 3 tokens to do it automatically, but otherwise you have to find it there. And then the Starlight Serpent's Den, you can spend 3 tokens to automatically get there, or you can keep searching. So that is the deal. Any other questions? Okay, then. Rob, are we about to lose you, or?
Yeah, I'm expecting a call any second, but it should
Okay.
only be for 15 minutes.
Okay, I'm just going to proceed as if you're not here then. Right now, Bana is somewhere in the crypts gathering the last bit of treasure that he was getting his hands on. Cassian and Magda, you meet up with Malkuth in the crypts. You see the glimmer of gold and other things that, in these various, side passages and sarcophagi and open coffins and things. There's tons of them, and it's a huge space. You can certainly engage the treasure rule here if you wish, but before you do, the 3 of you are descended upon by that group of priests that came down here looking for you. They leap out at you from all directions. There are 6 of them total, and they just have their little daggers. And you've dispatched a number of them already, Magda, but here's some more. They sort of jump out. I'm sure they do some kind of they jump out and they go, "The time of the 9-pointed star is nigh, interlopers!" And they descend upon you with their daggers. This is a combat roll. They are collectively an endurance 10. Please say how you are vulnerable and roll weak point, please.
Malkuth's vulnerable just because there's just more of them than there are him.
Yeah.
And they can stab him to death.
Mm-hmm.
Magda just got through fighting with a bunch of people. She hasn't quite recovered yet. She's still pretty tired.
Yeah, I love it.
I think Cassian is at least partially distracted by thinking about the adventures he was just on.
Yeah, I imagine you are. What are the weak points that we have right now? Is anybody in the die roller? I don't see anybody in there.
I think it's doing something weird.
I pressed the button.
Yeah,
Nothing happened.
I've refreshed and
try that link again. Let's see.
I know there was a problem with it the other day, so maybe.
Oh yeah, I pressed the button and nothing
fixed,
happened.
though.
It apparently is not fixed. Okay, then new plan. We are going to have to get some dice. So, because I don't have easy access to an online die roller, unless there's one in the character keeper, but I don't think there is.
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll pause the recording for a brief moment while we all go grab dice. Okay, we have a die solution now. Okay, so we have some weak points here. Malkuth's weak point is 3, Magda's is 1, and Cassian's is 5. We're going to be doing a combat 3. Cassian, you can go ahead and roll.
That's not how I meant to do that, but a 3, there's a 6 and a 5.
Let me see here. The results are, what are they again?
5, 6, and 2.
5, 6, and 2. Oh, I see here. Got it. 5, 6, and 2. Fantastic. 6 and 5 is 11. That is enough to end the fight. Cassian, you're taking a hit unless you mark armor. Let's have the first bit of the combat. Cassian, kick it off.
I think there's a kind of shocked hesitance when everything leaps out at Cassian before he remembers, starts swinging that staff, and I think he's going to take a good slash across the back, and I'll add to my ruin for that.
Sounds good. Keep it going, Magda.
Magda jumps in with her, what do I have? It's a masterwork longsword, sort of diving in under Cassian as he goes for it, and trying to do a good chop at the priest from the other side.
Nice.
Mm.
You can finish off a couple more. There's 6 total to get through here.
And that's a 3.
What are you doing?
Roll it. There it is.
Oh, we've already done the combat roll. They're defeated. Yeah, just narrate killing
Oh,
some of
never
them.
I was not paying attention.
Okay.
Yes, I think the priest that's closest to the front, he gasps in surprise, of course, as Magda jumps out from behind Cassian. And I mean, they've been looking for her and they found her, but his surprise is short-lived as she chops off his head.
Nice. Malkuth, wrap up this fight.
Yeah, Malkuth will take out his warhammer, and seeing the last few of them there, I think he'll just sort of do like a whirling dervish, just like slapping them upside the skull and in their arms, just sort of dismantling them.
Fantastic. Cassian, do you want to put any last little bits here? Are you good to go?
I think Cassian will kind of be stretching to see just how bad the wound in his back is as he leans against the wall and
Yeah.
says, I don't remember those being part of the services here.
Malkuth, you can go ahead and roll a gold 10 or 10d6 on our new die roller.
If you go to a complex roll, you can add just 10d6.
Oh, that would be much more helpful than what I'm doing. So that's, well, I've already rolled 6, so we'll do 4.
I've just been informed that the trophy die roller is back. So
Fabulous.
I will go grab us a new one. Hold on.
Daniel fixed it that fast.
He did, yeah.
Speedy.
I don't think he knew. So yeah. All right, try that. See how it goes. I'm gonna roll a couple things here. Yeah, it's working now. Okay, so go ahead and do a gold 10.
One.
Fantastic. The only treasure of worth, but it is a good one. One of the priests, their 9-pointed star holy symbol is actually inlaid with gold, and it's worth 1 gold total. Whoever wants to take that.
I'll leave that to someone else, but could I turn my 3 hunt tokens into 3 gold?
You can put your hunt tokens in to search the crypts if you want.
I'm too low on my gold currently to risk that.
Well, no, because
I'll
you
play
get
it safe.
automatic gold, right? You spend 1 token and you can choose to look for 2, 3, 4, or 5 gold worth of stuff.
Right.
And then you roll some dice to see if you took too long to search and danger comes.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I'll give that a go.
How many gold are you going to scrounge up?
I'll try 2 for now.
Okay. So roll a dark die.
A 2.
It's 2. So I think the rule is equal to or lower, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. Yes, it is less than or equal to. All right. So we assume that you are in the fiction kind of poking around the various interred bodies and sarcophagi, grabbing, pieces of jewelry or whatever sorts of things that people might have been buried with. And you manage to find enough to equal up to 2 gold. So you can increase your gold counter by 2. But during one such thing, and this is just you, Cassian, one of the grates above you swings open and the Starlight Serpent lashes out. Please roll weak point.
A 6.
He is an endurance. He's an endurance 11. Please roll combat 1.
A 1.
A 1. He didn't hurt you though. He after he strikes once, he goes back into after she strikes once, she goes back into the tunnel. Just give me the scene. What does it look like?
I think Cassian sees that mirrored head darting toward him and just drops himself to the ground on his back, which probably doesn't feel great, and it continues over him, and he's like just trying to keep his face away from those scales as it crawls back through into a grate.
I love it. Magda and the many jeweled corpses. Are you going to search for some treasure here, Magda?
I mean, we're here. I might as well.
Indeed. Spend a token. And then how much do you want to risk?
Just 2.
Okay, just 2. All these timid 2s.
I already died once in a trophy gold game in the last week. I don't need to do it again.
Go ahead and roll a dark die. 5. You're okay. Go ahead and increase your gold by 2 as you're grabbing goodies. Malkuth Banah is probably still filling his pockets up. Anything you're doing right now?
I am going to try and I think he's more concerned about the snake.
Mhm.
And I think he's going to try and look for a place where, whether it's like its nest or it's an opening to its den, I think that he's going to focus on that right now.
Sure. How are you searching?
Mostly just looking around with his eyes. Now that he knows that the priests are taken care of. I don't think Magda told us about the weird priests with the galaxy and the making the ghouls. So I think he'd probably just head down the center corridor looking for it.
Oh, you're going to go back out to the junction?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then, yeah, okay. I'll give you a hunt roll just for kind of keeping your eyes open until you kind of get there. So go ahead and roll that.
Five.
Take your token. I'm going to give you the answer. The way to reach the snake's den is to, well, you can fit inside the track.
Yeah, I could.
You'd be on your hands and knees crawling in the track, but you can.
I mean, he's used to it. He's been in subterranean caves that were very tight. So yeah, I think he would sneak in and go looking for it.
Are you going to get up into the track?
Yeah.
Very good. So yeah, you can hoist yourself up there. The little grate swings both directions, and you are now crawling around inside the little tunnel that the snake is crawling around in as well. Are you going to tell your companions where you're at, or
I think he's a little bit too impulsive right now, so I don't think he did.
Got it. Meanwhile, Banah, you can meet up with the others. Malkuth, unbeknownst to you all, is now crawling around inside the snake track, looking for the snake's den. What are the rest of you doing?
The really big grate that had some like garbage and such, that was in the center room, right? Like the atrium.
Yeah,
type?
it's like a pile of refuse, basically, in the kind of junction chamber.
If that's where they throw like the bodies of whoever the snake kills, there might be weapons or armor down there.
Possibly.
I want to see if I can get down there.
Yeah, you can go back to the junction as well. Cassian, what are you doing?
I think he's going to follow Magda because we don't want to get separated again. It doesn't end well.
Banah, you done scrounging treasure? You can certainly keep doing that, or you can tell me what you're doing otherwise.
I think I am discouraging Magda from this course of action. We have enough. Why do you need to go deeper into this death trap? We should get out now while we still can.
I want to go deeper into this death trap because I want to know what's down there, pointing down the middle hallway. And I saw
Nothing
some
good.
really weird stuff. So,
Yes.
you know, a little bit of armor, extra armor might not hurt if there is anything down there.
Make it quick. And I will reluctantly tag along.
Someone will have to lift the grate so Magda can jump down there. It's too heavy otherwise.
I can do that.
Thanks, Ben.
Magda, it's not a very far drop, only like 12, 13 feet or something like that. So you can hop down easily enough. There are... I mean, it's just a refuse area. There's just piles of bones and other detritus. You do see bits of rusted gear here and there. What do you do?
I think I'm just going to start moving things with my feet, trying to see if there's anything worth salvaging in this pile of stuff.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a hunt roll.
Really have anything helpful? I got a 2.
You encounter something terrible. We'll come back to that. Malkuth. So here's the thing. The path does split from time to time to go to different parts of the catacombs. So there is a bit of a navigational aspect to this. And it's not super easy to do because you can only look where you're going periodically when you look out the grates. So how are you navigating the space?
I think he's doing a lot with sound, and I think that again, since he's used to being in these sort of tight subterranean caves, I think he's relying a lot on sound as opposed to sight, and so he's trying to listen to where the snake might be, and trying to track via that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that sounds good. Go ahead and roll hunt roll.
Would I be able to add a light die with because my skill, I have the path skill.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yep.
6. Take your token. It's going well. You find yourself actually on an incline, a pretty steep incline, actually. It's probably nothing for the snake, but for you, there's really nothing to grab onto, and you're having to crawl up this incline. Do you have some tools that would make that easier?
Does a crushing warhammer count? I also have a chain, so I don't know. Maybe if I could like hook the chain to the warhammer and use it sort of like a makeshift grappling hook.
Grappling hook. If the warhammer is the type that has like a clawed side, I think that's probably good enough because then you could just kind of use it to like anchor yourself.
Yeah, I'll do that.
You managed to get. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I mean, I'm here now and I've got the tokens, so I don't know if I could just use them now to sort of find the den.
Oh, you're there. So you don't need to spend it.
Okay, cool.
You get to the top of the incline. It is quite steep, and it takes you a bit. And there is a grate, and it opens up into the other half of that starry space. You're looking down into it. You'll see some things, which we'll get to in a bit, but that's what's going on. Magda, regrettably, you see the grate that is not visible from up above, where the snake enters the refuse pit. And indeed, the snake is flying through the refuse pit, through that grate, to get at you, snapping the whole way through. You are in combat with the Starlight Serpent by yourself presently. That is, please tell me how you're vulnerable, if it's not obvious already, and then roll weak point.
Yeah, I don't have a great escape route right now.
You do not, no.
My weak point is 6.
Not great. It is an endurance 11. Please give me a combat 1. That is a 4. Neither of you are taking a hit. Go ahead and give me just the first bit of fending yourself or defending yourself from this thing.
I think I hear it before I see it because it's a bit dark down here in this pit. And I mean, there's garbage everywhere. The sound, that rushing, slithering sound, at first I don't really clue into what it is, but just before it bursts out, I clue in. And luckily, I am skilled in athletics and defense. I have my I have my armor on, of course. It's not very in great shape right now, not all of it, but I think I am able to just sort of block off any attack just barely as the snake snaps forward and tries to take a bite before slithering out.
I love it. Bana and Cassian, you can see this. You're looking. You got a front row seat to this fight. What are the two of you doing?
Magda, get out of there. I
How?
told you.
She's down. She's like 15 feet down below. There's no.
When I see, yeah, I wonder if my backpack equipment is all like defined now, so I can't add a rope conveniently to help her get out.
I can do that.
While they're getting that ready, Magda, combat 2. Six and 5. That is the creature's endurance. Unfortunately, you're striking with a sword, yes?
Yes.
Your sword cannot pierce the creature's scales. Your attacks do nothing. And furthermore,
I was so proud.
You are taking a ruin and you are coiled by the snake. The snake has wrapped its body around you. The rope is no longer going to be any use, Cassian. What do you do?
I'm gonna drop down and try and whack the snake.
Only one of
in
you
the
can
eye?
go at a time if you both go. Bana has to hold the grate open for you to drop down.
I will do that. I have no intention of going down there. That seems like a very foolish course of action.
Cassian, what do you
Not
do?
wrong. Going to just jump down and try and get the snake maybe in the eye with his staff.
Okay, good. Yeah, because you probably see the swords doing nothing, right? I love it. This is now a combat 4. Well, give me a weak point first, Cassian. Also, as a result of the crushing coils, just so you know, the way this works, Magda, is the snake cannot hurt Cassian while you are coiled. Instead, you take Cassian's damage if the weak point comes up. So just know that. So what is the weak point? 1?
1.
So it's now 1 and 6 are your bad numbers, Magda. We are looking at a combat 4. Go ahead and roll it, Cassian.
12.
12.
With 2 6s.
That is indeed that is a good strike. I think the way you've described using the staff to strike through its eye is very clever and smart. You are taking 2 ruin, Magda, unless you mark armor.
I will mark my full plate. I think you can hear it kind of creaking as the snake on the final blow, does an extra coil.
Cassian is dead. Describe how you kill it.
Just when he lands, he just takes his stick and thrusts it like a sword right through the eye, and he feels the slight resistance and then a give, and he just keeps driving it through.
Nice. It relinquishes you as it dies, Magda. Cassian and the Starlight Serpent. The legend is being written as we speak. Bana, you can go ahead and roll a gold 11.
Two.
The value is entirely in skinning the thing and taking its mirrored scale skin. That will take some time. So you cannot collect this treasure unless you take the time to skin the snake. Meanwhile, Malkuth, looking down into this void, very far down, you can see from the other side the bodies floating, right? But now you can see something that was not visible to Magda when the snake was in the chamber, which is an egg. An egg about the size of a football, mirrored glass, and it's in a nest that looks like a Milky Way, just like a swirling star, mini galaxy nest, and it's just floating there. But it's floating in free space. So you have a couple of problems. How do you get down there to grab the egg if you intend to do that? How do you get down in the space at all? There's nowhere to grab onto. It just, apparently the snake can float because it just drops out into open space from up above. So what do you do?
Good question. So if what do I have? So this fell tree fruit that says I can gain insight into underground places when I eat it. Since we are underground, would I be able to maybe consume this and have like more of an understanding of the space?
Oh, I like that. I think that's really good, actually. Yeah, go ahead and if you cross it off, take some time to eat this. It's salty fruit. Have
Tastes
fun with
great.
that. I like it. Yeah, it's really good. I'll just tell you. There is the space is magic. There is no structure beneath you to grab onto or to climb down or anything like that. The whole space is not, it's not a natural space. It's something that the priests have created. Having said that, the stonework that you are currently hanging out in, looking down, it is quite solid and can be anchored to if you want to rappel down. If you want to get a grappling hook and some rope.
Yeah, I'll make my little Warhammer makeshift grappling hook, and I'll start rappelling.
Yeah, do you you said you have some chain or something like that?
Yeah, I've got like 24 feet of chain.
It is still a risk roll because I think this is pretty dangerous what you're doing. But so let's do some. I want to hear everyone's thoughts. What could go wrong here?
You misjudge the magic of this room, and you start to float, and you're not able to grab onto anything, get stuck up at the top.
We didn't quite make it super clear, but just for my own knowing, are you trying to get the egg?
I am.
Okay. I mean, I think it's the opposite. You just plummet and smash against the glass to your death.
Something's protecting the egg. That isn't immediately obvious.
Was thinking there's already hatched juvenile snakes protecting the egg.
That would be intriguing. Those would be great devil's bargains too. All right, let's talk about dice. Your equipment gives you your first light die. Everyone can make the offer, or can make an offer. I'm going to say there is a magical ward protecting the egg.
I like the baby snakes. And they're hungry.
I was thinking something along the lines of there's not really a way to conceal this egg if you manage to get it. It's too big, it's too shiny. So it's going to be extremely obvious that you're carrying this thing out of the temple.
It might just alert. It might have some other qualities that cause it to alert security as well. Those are basically 3 offers, unless Ben, you have something different.
Nothing that beats those.
I like baby snakes, so I'm
sounds
gonna take
good.
that one.
You've got 2 light dice. I think you have to take a dark die. Go ahead and roll risk 2 light, 1 dark. That is a 5 light. The complication is you're going to have to fight the baby snakes.
Let's go.
You give me the scene as you're sort of anchoring and crawling down there. What does it look like?
It's not elegant at all. Again, I'm trying to use this claw pommel on my warhammer to sort of anchor myself, and so I think he's repelling, and he's trying to sort of push off of it to get to this egg. The first few times are, again, very clumsy, kind of slams up against the wall a couple times, but finally he kind of centers himself and then pushes off enough to reach out to this nest.
As you reach the nest, a trio of smaller starlight serpents emerge from the little galaxy nest. It's like a void space, and they're kind of coming out of it, and they're kind of creating a spiraling cage around you with their bodies. And then they kind of point down, and then to make the matters even more interesting, they snuff all the light in the room. They draw it into their bodies so that you're in the dark as well. This is a combat. I think it's probably like a combat. It's an endurance 8, the 3 of them. And your weak point, I think, is probably coming from the fact that you're in the dark now. Go ahead and roll weak point. 5. Go ahead and take the first roll, see if they hit you. Combat 1.
Combat 1, such as 1d6?
Just roll combat 1.
Okay. 5.
They are going to hit you once, and they are not defeated. Go ahead and describe it.
Yeah, I think they just sort of coalesce around him and start to like create this helix where they start to constrict him, and he's not able to sort of wiggle his way out.
And so you take a ruin unless you mark armor. Let's go over to the rest of the group. So Magda, well, there's no danger of the snake anymore. Down in the refuse pit. Do you keep searching the refuse pit, or are you guys going to skin this thing, or what? What's going on?
I think Magda is muttering under her breath after Cassian very heroically destroyed this snake, saving Magda's life. Grateful, of course, but kind of bitter that it wasn't her that did it. I think, yeah, I lean to Cassian and I say, maybe, and don't tell him I said this, maybe Benna was right about coming down here.
Yes.
Things worked out. Everyone's okay. Probably. And I think he'll be starting to prepare to skin the snake.
Yeah, I'll help you skin the snake.
That's going to take a while. As long as no one's aware of you down there, you'll have time to do it. We don't really know how many more priests there are or what more is coming in general in this situation. But what are you doing right now? There's always the middle passage.
I'm holding the grate, I guess, and kind of frustratedly hissing down at Magda and Cassian to hurry up, and just hoping nobody comes by. But I'm not yet quite ready to abandon them.
The noises,
because I guess they have no way out if I don't stay there holding the grate.
Well, they could crawl up into the snake track, but yeah. There are noises coming from the central passage. I described them last time, kind of chanting noises. Those are getting more frenzied from down the hall. There's something going on down there. Ana, what do you do?
I kind of hissed out, something is happening. Hurry up.
Then come down here. They're not going to look in the refuse pile.
If all three of us are down there, how do we get out again?
Through the
And way the
snake
snake did.
track. The snake can do
This
it.
is
We
a-
can do it.
This is a mistake. And Bernard
So
will
you can't get down
climb
unless
down.
someone has to hold the grate for you.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
No, well, in that case, I think I'll hiss down. I will go and see what is happening. Stay there. And I'm going to sneak off down that middle passage toward the chanting and see if I can see if there's any, if there's any risk of somebody coming, basically, and discovering them before they can get out.
Let's do the combat round. Malkuth, give me a combat 2. Looking for 8 total. 6 and 1 is not enough, but they don't hurt you at least. So what's going on now?
So I've marked some armor, my amulet of protection. So as they were coalescing around me and trying to constrict me, I think the amulet sort of emanated that red energy that we saw when he was fighting the bandits, the torchbearers, not the torchbearers. So I think he repels them that way, but it's a one-time use sort of thing, and they just keep coming and just keep trying to squeeze him.
Indeed. Bana, do a hunt roll.
I'm thinking stealth is helping me here.
I love it. Yeah.
So is that a hunt
Hunt 2.
2? Oh my goodness, that's a 1 and a 2.
1 and a 2. You move down the passage. There's a short corridor that ends in an open doorway, on the other side of which is a sort of ritual chamber. You can see from your vantage point, inside this ritual chamber, there is a naked star priest laying atop a mosaic of a 9-pointed star set in the floor. The priest is surrounded by 9 of these ghoul creatures, chanting over his body in a very strange tongue. They complete their ritual by sinking their teeth into the priest's body, the wounds corresponding to 9 sacred points on the body: forehead, left clavicle, left palm, left inner thigh, right inner thigh, sole of left foot, sole of right foot. And then, perhaps to your horror, they lift the bleeding, bitten star priest and begin carrying him in your direction towards the central junction. What do you do?
Well, I think Magda and Cassian brought this upon themselves. I'm going to
Get out of the way.
I'm going to get out of the way, yeah, because my guess is that they're feeding this person to the snake, and with luck, they'll throw him down into the pit without looking too carefully, and Magda and Cassian will be able to get away unscathed. But I'm going to get out of the way, yeah.
Magda and Cassian, you hear up above, getting closer, a kind of strange, guttural, like a music or a singing, but it's not words you understand. And it definitely has like this sort of ritualistic cadence to it. It's getting closer. It's getting even closer. It's very nearly in the central junction. What are the two of you doing?
Quickly press yourself against the wall.
Yeah, I think I'm going to press against the wall so that if the direction I think they sound like they're coming from, I'll be like directly under that if they happen over it. And I'm gonna sort of pull some of the garbage up so I can look like a little garbage heap.
as long as you take cover, you'll hear their little procession turn and go down the right hallway towards the Chamber of Stillness. And they go in and they're bringing the body of that priest into the Chamber of Stillness. So you're okay.
I think at that point, that's when I let Cassian know what I saw in there.
Yeah. Bana, well, Cassian saw it too, because remember Cassian pulled you
yes.
down with a stick. Yeah. Bana, you the ritual chamber's open, Bana. What do you do?
It's too tempting not to look, right?
Indeed.
There must, if there's anything of value in there, if there's anything interesting that they've left behind, or, ritual objects, statues.
Make a hunt roll.
Trying to justify a skill here, but I'm not sure that I can. I mean, stealth purely in as much as I'm... Oh, I lost all my tokens. That's a 1.
Oh no. And you encounter something terrible, which we'll get to in a bit. Malkuth, let's have a combat 3.
All right.
Looking for 8 on 2 dice. 5, 2, and 1. Your weak point's 5, right?
Yes.
So you're taking a hit, and you did not defeat them. Describe it.
So after the amulet runs out, 2 of them wrap around him, and the third bears its very chrome-like fangs, and I think it just kind of sinks into his clavicle, echoing what the ghouls were doing downstairs.
Oh, nice. I like that. Give me the combat 4 as well. Let's keep it going. Unless you want to run.
No, I'm trying to kill this thing. These things.
Yeah.
So that is a 6 and a 5. It's 11.
That's enough. You do take a hit, though. Go ahead and describe how you defeat them. Oh, you're muted, Jack.
As we've seen before, he tries to keep his cool, but he is prone to anger. And so I think when this silvery serpent bites his collar, he just flies into a rage and just sort of rips them off of his body. And even floating in the space, I think he's just sort of taking them and trying to like slam them up against anything. Of course, there's not really anything there, so he's just ripping them apart as much as he can, just trying to get them away from him. And I think after that sort of outburst, he realizes that they're gone and tries to calm himself down.
Go ahead and roll a gold 8 to see if you're able to, I don't know, grab one to sell later or something.
2.
2. Yeah, you can get one of them like that's mostly intact and sell its body for 2 gold. You can also grab the egg and get out of there if you want.
I'll take both. I took 2 hits, so does that increase my ruin to 2, or
it increases it by 2 unless you marked armor for one of them?
I did mark armor with the amulet protection, so it's just the 1.
Yeah. You can take the egg. I'll tell you right now, the egg is worth 6 gold.
Okay.
But it's also a magic item.
All right.
Let's go back to Bana. Bana, I regret to inform you that you step on the exact wrong tile, which causes an iron gate to drop down in the doorway of the ritual room, trapping you. Meanwhile, Cassian and Magda, they're not there long. They drop off the priest, they send him floating, and you can hear them shuffling back up to the central junction. What do the 2 of you do?
Quickly finish the snake skinning.
I think you're going to have to hide for a little bit longer. They come up the central junction, and then they kind of disperse. You can hear them kind of going in different directions. Not upstairs, but mostly towards the crypts. But then there are a couple heading back in the direction of the ritual room. And they will very quickly notice, Bana, that the gate has been triggered, and they are going to send up an alarm, Bana, unless you do something. You're muted.
Can I see any kind of mechanism that would release the gate from outside? You know, presumably there's got to be a way of opening it again
Make a hunt
from
roll.
outside.
Make a hunt roll.
This time I really want to justify some kind of skill, but I don't think I have one. Let's just do the raw hunt roll. Oh God!
Another one. God, the Daryl is being a dick to you today. Another one. No. They see that the gate has been tripped. They see you, and they immediately start like crying out, like, you know, in their language, like, you know, alarm, danger, danger. You hear many of them deep in the catacombs. You hear them reacting, hollering, running, crawling, yelling. They're going to discover the snake is dead pretty soon, and that's going to be a big problem. Malkuth is just now crawling up into the snake tunnel with egg in hand. This is indeed the true treasure of the temple, so that other set goal is met, because you have it now. In fact, there are no active set goals currently. Malkuth, you can get up to the incline, which is now a decline for you, and work your way down. But Malkuth, you will hear the commotion because it's echoing out everywhere. You all need to make a plan and figure out what you're doing. But you're no closer to getting out of there. By the way, you're still.
So this is like a chamber at the end of a corridor. There are no other exits.
There are no exits. No, yeah, there are no other exits.
Is there a grate that's sort of above this, so I could maybe like drop down?
To grab Bana?
Maybe to grab Bana, or just to sort of smash these things.
I mean, I think the creatures are coming from lots of different directions, and I think they're going to overwhelm you. I think that's a problem. That's the major problem here.
Got it.
I do like the idea of you finding Bana, though. I think that would be fun to try to
I'd like to do
Bana.
that.
Yeah. Bana, how might you make your situation known to the others so they know you're trapped? What do you do?
Can I call? Is it the distance short enough that I can call, and Magda and Cassian will be able to hear me from?
Absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely the case. And indeed, I think that Malkuth can hear you as well. So someone's got to go rescue Bana. That's basically.
So I'm doing this kind of stage whisper shout thing, help.
Well, there's no need to. They've already saw you in there, the two ghouls. So like, they know you're in there.
Even so,
Malkuth, the ghouls are crawling around in the tunnels. They use the tunnels as well to get to places faster down below.
Of course they do.
It is all bad right now. Cassian and Magda, what are the two of you doing?
How's the skinning going?
Not fast enough.
How heavy is the snake?
You cannot lift the snake. It's far too heavy.
But I'm wondering, if we got under it, could we kind of Weekend at Bernie's make it look like it's doing its thing? Like, if all it has to do is wiggle around,
like the
right?
Chinese dragon parade things.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a risk roll to fool the ghouls long enough they're called Starborn, to fool the Starborn long enough to think that the snake is alive, I guess. But what would be the goal of that, though?
Get it into the tunnel, out of their sight.
Just to give us more time.
I see. To buy maybe buy Malkuth more time to find Bana. I kind of like that. It was your idea, Cassie, and you can do the roll. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and do that. Let's be really precise with our stakes here. I think what might be interesting is if the Starborn see that the snake is still alive, or they think it is, then they trust the snake will find Bana in the ritual room, because there is a grate high up above the ceiling in the ritual room. And so that might cause them to like chill out, once they realize that, oh, okay, it's fine, So we'll say I think that's, if that's okay, I think that's maybe what's at stake here.
Sounds good.
Sense.
Jack, you get to say what could go wrong.
Pretty straightforward, I think. They realize that it's a ruse, and they all descend upon you and start biting you.
Let's talk about dice. Do you have a skill that would help you here? I suppose using the snake is maybe equipment in a way for the first light die.
I was thinking beasts to help sell it.
Oh yeah, I'm into that. And Rob, you can make the devil's bargain.
You're going to have to keep this ruse up for like longer than just a few moments, because they're going to be watching to see what the snake does. They're enjoying the spectacle of watching it devour its victims. So
yeah, maybe you have to take conditions related to exhaustion or something.
That sounds fair.
Is anyone is the Scoundrel's Quarter being tracked? Its ruin, is it being tracked somewhere on the sheet?
Don't believe it is.
If I recall, we're up to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will also put that on the table. You can put the Scoundrel's Quarter in danger for a devil's bargain.
And the downside is we'd have to do a dart.
You roll a die, or you roll a ruin roll, and if it's higher than 3, then it goes up.
Yeah, let's chance that.
Yeah, it's not bad odds. Although today, go ahead and roll that now. 5. So the Scoundrel's Quarter is going up to 4 ruin, but you have 2 light dice for now. Go ahead and roll risk 2 light. That is a fail. Would you like to add a dark die and try again?
Yes, I would.
That is a 5. That is a complication. I'm going to give you the condition exhausted, but otherwise it will work. If you don't want to deal with that, you can certainly get help from Magda, or well, that's it. You can just get help from Magda.
Yeah, I could help.
Go ahead and roll a help die.
Trying to think of how I'm helping.
I mean, I assume you're both puppeting the snake, but
Yeah. I rolled a 5. How does that work with help?
if this matches, it says
Matches
right
dark
there, if this
die.
matches any dark die, the ruin goes up by 1. Your ruin goes up by 1.
Mine? Okay.
Yeah, yours. Yeah. And it doesn't help any more than it would have. Your ruin is going up, I think, because like you're like partially I'm gonna give you condition bruised leg. I think the snake falls on your leg during this and hurts your leg. Cassian, it's just taking a bit. They hang out by the edge of the refuse pit and they're just like watching. Like right around that time is when Magda drops part of the snake on her leg. And Magda, how do you like suppress your cries of pain? What does that look like?
I think I just bite down on my gloves,
Yeah.
and hopefully the sound that I make is a sound that kind of sounds like a snake sound.
Indeed. What how are you playing this, Cassian? What's going on?
I think he's underneath the snake's head
Hmm.
and trying to just kind of move it back and forth like it's rooting through the refuse, and just trying to make sure that the ruined eye is always pointed away.
Good. Yeah. It's taking a minute, but it's at least keeping them distracted, and they are not as concerned about Bana. Malkuth, you can hear Bana calling. You can navigate, which you can navigate to where Bana is to try to get Bana out, to drop down a line for him to get out. You are going to have to do a risk roll, though, to navigate to Bana
Sure.
safely. Ben, what could go wrong here?
The wall of this tunnel isn't as firm after years of snake traveling through it, and you will fall through into a previously uncharted section of the temple.
Ooh.
Mm.
I like that.
I want to fail now.
We've already established you have this path skill, so you've got your first light die. Amanda, you can do the devil's bargain.
No matter what, we've determined that the egg is very bright, I think. I don't, that wasn't the devil's bargain though, that was, anyway, we've determined that it's very bright. I think no matter what, when you do get out of the tunnel, it'll be very obvious where you are. Like
I'll put the Scoundrel's Quarter in play again too.
Yeah, I want the Scoundrel's Quarter to ruin. So let's do that.
Roll a ruin, see what happens.
2 5s.
Oh, roll ruin for the Scoundrel's Quarter
Oh,
first.
sorry.
Yeah, just roll ruin. 3. Okay, the Scoundrel's Quarter is fine. It's still at ruin 4. And now your 2 light dice, 5 is good. The complication is I think the complication is you're going to be in a real hurry to get Bana out of there, and you're going to have to leave some equipment behind, like your chain or something. You have to leave something behind, like during the rescue, just so you can hurry up and get out of there.
Okay. Yeah. I'll leave my manacles behind if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead and describe how you otherwise find Bana.
Well, I can hear him stage yelling, and it was in the opposite direction where I was going. So he starts to turn around, and seeing the grate, he just kicks it open with his boot and drops down. I think with the roll that I had, I don't think he's as graceful. There's not like the 3-point landing. I think it's more of a kind of a stumble, and then gets up, dusts himself off, and says, "Hey, you in trouble?"
Looks like now the two of us are in trouble. How do we get out of here?
I'm not sure. Probably involves running though, and if it's okay
Running
with
where?
if it's okay with Bana, I think he just sort of scoops him up and puts him on his back and starts to try and run towards for safety.
Well, there's only one way out, and there's a gate drop below
The gates.
by the
Yeah, I know.
doorway. So, yeah, there's nowhere to go. You're still in the ritual room.
He'll put him down then, and
We have to
say,
get this gate open somehow.
I think with the two of you there, you can probably put your strength to bend the bars enough to so you can wedge your way out.
"Yeah,
Meanwhile, Cassian and Magda, eventually the ghouls wander off, content that the snake is fine, that it's going to dispatch Bana. They can go back to their crypts doing whatever ghoul shit they do. What are the two of you doing right now?
finishing getting those scales.
Yeah.
Indeed. Eventually, you will be able to get enough of the skin off so that you can roll it up and sell it for 2 gold. Malkuth and Bana, you manage to get the bars open and come back out to the central junction. You arrive just when Cassian and Magda are getting the scales rolled up. You're all together. What's happening right now?
Malkuth, would you mind throwing down your chain to let us up? I'm kind of tired of being under this snake.
Of course, yeah. And he'll throw the chain down. I think he'll put it on the hammer still, so it's kind of like a more sturdy anchor.
Yeah. Eventually, the two of you can take the skin. Anything else you want to do in the refuse pit?
I'll take one last quick look around to see if we missed anything.
I will tell you,
Before I
you've
climb
had
up.
plenty of time because you've been down there for a while trying to do this snake.
Yeah.
Most of the metal gear, like all the armor and the metal armor and stuff like that, has been rusted away and is no good. But there is a set of leather armor around around a partial skeleton, which you can certainly take.
Yeah, I'm gonna snag that and stuff it into my pack.
Although Magda won't necessarily notice it, the interior of the leather is embroidered with the owner of the armor, with their initials and name, or their name. It belongs to an R. Crow who met his fate, his ill fate at the hands of the Starlight Serpent, so to speak. But nevertheless, you have this armor. And you all can get out of there.
Can I turn my hunt tokens into a thingy found in the pit?
Down in the pit, how many tokens you got?
2.
2? You can spend them. I'll give you a treasure. Let me pull up Loom real quick.
I think I'll probably do the same with my last token.
Okay. You just find a coin pouch, Magda, worth 1 gold with 1 gold worth of silver in it. So you can just note that. Cassian, you find you find a very interesting thing indeed. An ornate lantern of brass and stained glass, patterned in swirling constellations and angelic figures, attached to a thick silver chain. It's worth 2 gold, but it's also magic.
Thank you.
Starlight Serpent egg in tow, lots of other treasure in tow. Everyone is back up in the central junction. Are we leaving the Temple of the Peerless Star, or are you going back in for more?
I'm urging everybody to get out before anything even more catastrophic happens.
I think I look, over at the crypts, thinking just maybe I should, but no. I'm in pretty rough shape. I'm not feeling great. I think I should leave.
I think the
second
story
Banal's
you have
motion.
to tell. Saint Magda and the Starlight Serpent.
Wasn't my story. It was Cassian and the Starlight Serpent. I wasn't even operating the head when we pretended to be it.
You clearly have no idea how stories propagate. The
Wait.
truth is rather irrelevant.
Wait, why were you moving the snake's dead head? Oh, never mind. Yeah, but no, I'm with you. Cassian, are you coming? Are you playing more in the refuse pit?
I will go, but you should know there is something here even stranger than all of this. And I think he'll tell the others about the astrolabe. for future reference, if nothing else.
I'm thinking about the miniature astrolabe that I have, and I'm wondering if it's also magical. But I don't think we have time to really inspect it right now.
I will tell you, if you look at it, it's set to a constellation. It has like stars set on it.
Well, okay, I'll show it to Cassian.
I think Cassian will be planning on starting to make a list of all these constellations, just in case.
Maybe we get out of the temple and look at the astrolabes. Show and tell. And I think Malkuth is just sort of inching his way towards the exit.
Very good. Sounds like we're leaving. You can get up the stairs to the basement. From the basement, you can go up the stairs to the main floor, out the back of the temple if you wish. Or at this point, probably nobody'd stop you if you went through the front. And
maybe Magda's fiance.
Yeah.
Yeah, is my fiance around?
No, he's not around.
Okay.
Yeah, he is not. Neither is the King's Guard. That was after Cassian. And you go out into the night air of Umbaret, the Temple of the Peerless Star behind you. You can find accommodations for the rest of the night easily enough, where you can perhaps divide up your treasure if you wish, or just hold on to whatever you found as yours. And you have a dinner date the next day with Iotho, Bana. The invitation finds you, and the whole group is requested.
Interesting. I wonder how he knew about my companions.
Who can say?
I will take that proposal to the others then.
Very good. Let's just have that scene, having breakfast in some inn in Umbaret.
Now that we have our primary business behind us, I have a possible lead on some further work. I encountered seemed to be an influential man by the name of Iotho before we entered the temple yesterday. And he would like to see us. I suspect he may have something to offer that might be of interest.
Do you trust him?
No, of course not.
Is he rich?
He certainly seemed at least influential. But yes, there was a certain vulgar display of wealth on show.
He can pay. I don't see why not.
Perhaps
He
there will
didn't
even be a story in it for Saint Magda.
I think she just kind of grumbles.
And he didn't say what he wanted. He just wants to have dinner. No.
I think I impressed him with my resourcefulness, Malkuth. Perhaps he thinks I may be useful.
Well, I mean, as long as it's just dinner, it can't hurt, right? I mean, he could poison our food if we don't do anything that he likes or we upset him. But yeah, totally down to hear him out.
Cassian?
Yes. If not for me, you all would have been eaten by a snake, so of course I'm coming.
If not for Magda, we would have been out of that temple considerably sooner and with considerably less trouble. But I assume
And considerably
you are
less
coming.
treasure.
I'll just say too that during breakfast, Malkuth has had the silver egg on the table with like a little makeshift nest. He's just eating next to it.
I love it. I love it.
By the way, I don't think I had time to tell you, but I met a friend in the Salt District, and if we're interested in helping, again, it's not your problem, but there is a mine there that he thinks might be haunted. I don't know about a reward, but mines like this can oftentimes have things like gems and old riches. Might also be something worth investigating.
No, everyone knows ghosts don't exist.
Wait, what?
What a strange thing to not believe in.
Magda, really, after what we saw yesterday,
Speaking of which,
Cultist
what
corpses? They're not ghosts.
the Starlight Serpent has a name already, so you don't need to add that to your bestiary necessarily, but although I'm sure
I
back in Fort Durin
have
they will
been
want
keeping
to
track.
hear of it. What are you going to call these ghoul creatures?
I call them Merc Freaks. And the Crypt Worm was the Starlight Serpent.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Merc Freaks and the Crypt Worm. A snake tattoo would look pretty cool on your arm.
Yeah, if you want, I can do maybe like a little sleeve.
Well, that's just maybe for the time being. I have it well recorded with pen and ink, a more traditional and portable method of recording such information.
What's more portable than your own arms?
I think he just would look really cool with a tattoo, but again, it's your body, your choice.
Precise.
We shall fast forward a bit to the dinner with Eotho, assuming you spend the rest of the day just lounging about, taking it easy in Ambarat, getting ready for your meeting. Eotho's villa in the Rose District is really something. As you are led into this sort of grand dining hall where there are no other apparent guests but the four of you, looking around the villa as a paint the scene question, how do you know Eotho has more money than you will ever be able to find or earn in your lifetime?
In that vulgar display of wealth, I think that this chamber the walls are literally mosaic tiles just made up of different coins of gold.
There's a large fountain on one side, and you can feel the heat coming off of it because instead of water pooling out, it's liquefied gold.
It may not be immediately apparent, but every doorknob, every kind of drawer fixture, it's all cut crystal all over the place.
And there's artwork everywhere. Some of the walls are just frames butted up against each other, covering the whole wall to the point that you can't see the surface behind it. And some of the artwork looks extremely old.
You are set down at one end of the table, two on either side. The head of the table is presumably where Eotho will be. Eotho's entrance into the chamber happens when a pair of large double doors opens up into the dining hall. And Eotho is carried into the room on a large platform. Eotho's very big man, to the point where you can't even really see his legs or feet. He's so big. He's being carried into the dining hall by 8 incredibly muscular men wearing brass bull masks. They carry him in. He has on his little platform a couple of young, delightful associates, barely clothed. And he himself, he's wearing kind of a flowing caftan situation. And they set him down at the head of the table and then take up a position at the rear of the room. And he says, "So how are you finding Amberette so far?"
Fascinating. We have been most busy.
Yes. Word of your exploits have reached me. I am led to believe that there was some trouble at the Temple of the Peerless Star yesterday. Were you the locus of that trouble?
Some of us more than others.
Indeed. I hope you are enjoying my hospitality. I have a very important proposition to make to you. Meanwhile, the food is coming. What extravagant thing is on the menu? The sort of thing that you just cannot get anywhere else.
I think there's a layered bird creation. So it's like a swan with a duck inside it, with a chicken inside it, or something along those lines, or quail inside it. And each layer as you cut it open is a rarer creature than.
And then like caviar in the very center. Yeah.
Mm.
There's a species of a very rare oyster that is found in the waters around here, and a platter of those arrive. But not only are the oysters rare, they are set upon decorative flowers, and these flowers are extremely endangered. They cannot be grown in hothouses, they have to be grown in the wild, and they're only grown in places much, much farther to the north.
Mm.
There's a selection of Nakanese fruit that is illegal to import into Amberette, but he has found a way to get it here.
I think there's the equivalent of the ortolan, the little birds that you eat whole in some places, except they are a very rare bird from the Caldur.
Do we have to wear veils too while we're eating?
I think the bird is covered until you eat it.
The meal is so rich and so sumptuous. The wine is so delicious and so fine that you actually get to lower your ruin by 1 just by participating in this meal or partaking in it. Once it's all done, and he's just asking you for your exploits, and I imagine Magda takes up most of that time as you're sharing your exploits. And he says, "Now to the matter at hand. I have recently heard some rumors about the Caldur, the great forest that lies at the doorstep of Fort Durin. They say there are ruins at the heart of the forest, ruins that are from the time of old Caldur. I have assembled a team of people, not unlike yourselves, to go into the Caldur and to find these ruins for me. I simply require your assistance in escorting my team to Fort Durin getting them accommodations and equipment. A simple enough task, don't you think?
As it happens, I have a great many contacts in Fort Durin and access to goods and services of all kinds. I'm sure we can be of assistance.
Excellent, excellent. For your troubles. And a servant comes out and brings a little chest of silver and sets it down. It's the equivalent of 1 gold for each of you. If it's agreed, then I shall give you the name of the inn my team is staying at. You should go and meet them and let them know when you're heading back to Fort Durin so they'll be prepared.
I'm sure we are at their disposal.
Indeed.
And we're just escorting them, right?
That's You're just taking them to Fort Durin.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they're good to go there. But in the interim, the 4 of you need to make Trophy Dark characters, who are the characters who will be going on said incursion into the Caldur. Whenever you wish, you can trigger that incursion in order to reduce the ruin of the Scoundrel's Quarter, which is currently at 4, I will remind you. I do think we need to check in with the Scoundrel's Quarter, though. How has it been negatively affected by whatever cosmic things you've been doing, whatever dark intersections there are between the forest and the Peerless Star? How is it affecting the Scoundrel's Quarter?
Well, there's definitely been a rise in snakes.
Yeah, snake infestation.
And not ones that have been seen in this area before. They're highly deadly too, very venomous.
And surprisingly difficult to behead with any kind of sharp weapon.
I think those little birds that we had that were very rare have started colonizing parts of Fort Durin and are attacking native species.
So you will go and you will meet this team. You will take them back with you across the Gulf of Ambaret, back to Fort Sealy or whatever the fuck it's called, and then back to Fort Durin. You will get to know them very well, but we're not going to role play those scenes. And I think that will conclude our activities for today. Let's go ahead and go to Stars and Wishes.
Jack, I really loved the whole scene with Malkuth and the little snakes. I thought that thing was very fantastical. It really pulled in all of the, those spooky but fantasy elements that I've been really digging about this incursion. So yeah, that was a really great scene. Rob, I'm so glad that you decided to go to the ritual room. It was the best decision and also the worst decision. And I am a bit of a video game completionist, so I want to see what's in all the rooms. So I'm glad you did that for my sake.
And I got nothing from it.
And you got nothing. Your rolls were so bad. It was incredible. And I feel a little bad for cheering when your rolls were bad. It was just so much fun. And I hope it's better next time for you. Ben, Cassian is just a delight. The idea of making the snake look animated to try and fool the guards or the corpses into thinking that it was alive, that was brilliant. What a wonderful, wonderful move. I really, really loved that. And Jason, Yotho, that guy's cool and also terrifying and awful. So I want to see more of him. I like him a lot. That's a wish, I guess.
Yeah, just overall star for the system. I've played other fantasy games where the roles missing a role feels very it feels bad when you do it, and you really kind of start to get frustrated with it. But I feel like with this, and even when I miss a role, I feel like it's adding to the story. It doesn't feel like I'm being compromised as a player. And I think that's just kind of a testament to the system itself. Um, I really enjoy the fact that Bana is probably the most rational, smartest out of all of us. It's a good foil to have against the three of us and our individual ridiculousness. Um, Magda always can count on you for the chaos and jumping into the pit and looking around, and then of course getting wrapped up in Snake, and then Kazian getting the killing blow was also a great moment. And I'm really it's kind of a star and a wish. This Yotho guy, very creepy, obviously, very decadent. But as a wish, I'm very excited to see more of him because I think he's got a lot of potential to ruin our lives, which I'm always here for. And yeah, wishes. I'm excited to try and lower the Scoundrel quarter ruin with the Trophy Dark incursion. Love Dark, so I'm excited to get to that and see what incursion can actually lower it. And yeah, just excited for more.
Yeah, a big star for, like, one thing I noticed that Jason, you handle really well is like when the party splits up, it doesn't, in a lot of, a lot of GMs kind of resist doing that to some extent, but it's just so smooth when that happens here, and just the shifting of focus is always, it's not even a concern, and just happens really, really well. That was a lot of fun, the way we were in 3 different groups exploring and just getting into all kinds of chaos in the catacombs there. I'm also, yeah, wish 2 wishes really. One is I agree with what Jack said. I want to see more Eotho. I'm sure there's more to this story that Bana is just assuming is an easy job. I'm sure it won't be. I'm interested to see what the complication is and how Eotho is screwing us over. And I'm also really excited to create these dark characters and go plunging into the Caldor. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really the Temple of Peerless Star was great fun. You saw basically everything, so that was exciting. And oh well, kind of. I mean, there's way more to do with the astrolabe, right? But you got just a taste of that. But that's still there. It's always a thing. So, but yeah, great fun. Star for Jack for Malkuth crawling up into the snake track by himself to go find the snake den. That was very, very bold move, right? The dice favored you in doing it, which is the only reason why it was probably a good move, because otherwise it was probably a pretty bad move, but it was nevertheless a brave move, and I enjoyed it. Love the whole, everything with the Starlight Serpent was great fun. It was fun to see Magda thinking she was about to strike the killing blow, but then their sword just not doing the job, getting coiled up by the snake, and then Cassian jumping in and realizing the problem and going for a sensitive part of the body. That was really smart. As a star for that as well. Just really great stuff. The whole scene was quite good. Star for Bana for going into the ritual room. You didn't have to do that. There was something to find in there, but unfortunately the situation went pear-shaped a little too fast, and so you were not able to get it. And yeah, just yeah, and I thought the scene with Eotho was great fun. Everyone's paint the scene descriptions of Eotho's splendor and menu and all that was really, really good fun. So I'm excited to see where things go. As a wish, so you're going to do Hearthfire soon. I'm thinking if you all want to do the Trophy Dark thing to reduce the ruin, that will be the main thing we do next time. But we'll do Hearthfire first. We'll do Hearthfire, get the characters in Fort Durin settled and, living their best lives in Fort Durin, and then pick up with the other group to do Eotho's mission and into the Caldur. Yeah, and then whenever that's done, we'll kind of come back to the Trophy Gold characters. And so, yeah, I'm just excited to see all that. I think it'll be really fun.
And nothing much that hasn't already been said, other than I loved the little scene that didn't quite happen between Malkuth and Bana, and Malkuth just like slinging Bana over his shoulders and let's go. That was,
and getting like 20 feet before you had to stop.
Yep.
Right.
I really liked that. I like the dynamic there. Iotho is always fun for me, less fun for my characters. So that'll be great to see more of. And yeah, looking forward to fitting this dark incursion in and seeing what we learn more about the world through a set of new eyes.
I have one quick additional wish. I want to see Malkuth raise these little snakes, the little snakes from the little egg he's got, so we can have a snake friend.
Yes, my wish is to become a father.
That's a wish of mine as well, because you have a few magic items on your person right now, and you'll have to make some decisions about whether you want to keep them or not. I'll tell you what they do, because there's no reason to hide it from you, but I'll tell you what they do. We assume you did your research, and you can choose whether to keep them or not based off what they do. But if you do, it increases your burdens, right? So it increases your burdens, and you don't get the treasure value for them, but you might like their power. So yeah, just another thing to kind of look forward to. Anything else? Okay. Well, in that case, let's wave goodbye to everybody watching the video. Bye.